Well, they knotted the series back up. You could argue in the round differential, they've been the better of the series, but it doesn't matter. You've got to close out games, and that's what Renegades were able to do on Cobblestone, but who will do it on Cash? Make that money. Vince, what's your prediction?
Oh, man. Well, I guess I have to stick with what we both predicted.
We already made predictions.
Cash. I feel it's going to be close, but I would give the edge to Liquid. We said 2-1 to Liquid at the start of this. That's the way it's been going so far. Very confident display there on Overpass. And I actually spoke to Elige briefly while he was chilling out. I said, like, you know, how are you feeling after that first map? And he said, very confident. Even after that loss, they were confident. They realized what they did wrong. They rectified the issues. They bounced back and just steamrolled. So that's pretty much the best way you can react to a loss of that magnitude, you know, in the first one, is to look at it in a positive way.
Absolutely. And we talked a little bit about CT side as well from Liquid. They've changed things up on this map. I find it really hard to see this map being similar in the fact that we have a heavy T side, as we've had effectively 3 of those. We've had 4 halves total, but I guess you can't really call the last little few rounds a half on Overpass, but I see this one being a lot more back and forth. Liquid again, apparently not very good at knives, because they're going to start out T-side for the 3rd time in a row.
They are, but again, Cash is one of those maps where I don't think it makes a huge amount of difference. You know, you can be just as lethal and just as potent on the T side as you can on the CT side, especially at this level of play at the very top. But here come the potential Molotov execute onto the B side. The only player who is actually pretty passive here is going to be JKS at the back. He's looking for the one tap, and they're playing for the retake on B, which is always a bit of a sketchy situation for CT perspective.
And he just fired that into the flash as well. He already had it perfectly lined up, so just unfortunate from Team Liquid. Hiko's going to try and hold off these 2 flank rotations because the bomb is planted. Adren has taken down Havoc, but Hiko's caught out. He's taking some damage and eventually will go down to Sponge, and JKS doesn't care anymore. He wants into the site. They've got everyone except 2, and those 2 are putting up a fight. They bring it back to an even situation until Yam takes Adren, but it's left to just 1. They've got enough time, or have they? This 1 kit from Yam, it may be enough. JKS knows he's got no chance. Yam's going to get on it, and has he got it? I think he does. Just with the kit, it's going to be close. But they've got it. Renegades will take round 1.
That must have been with a millisecond to go as well. That's one of the reasons why B is such a nightmare to retake in these pistol rounds, because you don't have the utility, you don't have stuff like Molotovs to force out the terrorists, but all of the initial trades went the way of the CTs. This first pick was pretty big from JKS as well, to get the clean kill, the frag, and then pull back and come back in for seconds, allows him to take down Nitro, as you just saw there on the replay. So, crucial moments. And Liquid have conceded the first round here on Cash, but it's right back in. All guns blazing with a force buy. Tech-9's Kevlar, full grenades at their disposal. Looks like this will be an A set play.
Now Azure sitting by that fence as well as one of the 2 SMGs. Havoc having the other. He's just behind him at quad. So with this smoke execution that Liquid likes to run, this will give them a bit of a chance for not only mobility, but a close quarters combat without losing rifles in an awkward situation. Mid boost, though. They've actually tried to sell this on a 2nd round force with these Tech-9s, and 2 kills come in at once. Hiko and Elige. This is actually kind of clever from Team Liquid.
Definitely is. The issue now is they are going to get the trade back, and that's the bomb dropped as well. In the middle of nowhere. They do have the player advantage, and that is the only saving grace for Team Liquid.
Havoc needs to just not peek this. Don't get over aggressive, and walks back out to Adren. He had the rifle. They've even just conceded the plant at that point and tried to go for a retake. If he catches 1 or 2 before, it might have given him a chance, but walking back out like that, there was never any hope. To be fair, there wasn't for the other as well, but wishful thinking.
Thing is, if that's a 3v3 and then the bomb's dropped, that's the CT's round more than likely. So that was a sketchy situation there for Liquid, even though they do end up picking it up regardless.
2nd time Renegades have been ecoed as well. They've lost 2 out of the 3 opening pistols, Team Liquid, on their T sides, but ecoed 2 of them, meaning that they've gotten the early start. Now for the 3rd time, and here we go again. Nitro with the AK, just gonna walk in 3. Elige will follow up with the 4th, and Hiko closes the round, but this is good. Nitro needs to be on this map particular.
Yeah, Cash is the kind of map that if your entry frag is on point, you know, the likes of Freakazoid, for example, for Cloud9, if he's doing well, they just get onto sites. It's really that simple. So if Nitro can start to feel it, if he's got the likes of Elige behind him as well, backing him up, I can see them bursting onto sites here, and you can see Renegades, they're into an eco already. So Team Liquid starting off very well indeed after losing that first round.
Nitro this time taking the more damage inside that middle, so Elige will be pushing forward. He's got 2. This is the 1-2 punch coming into effect again. 3 now for Elige. And the same 2 culprits to close it out. Fugly and Hiko again. All smiles so far, as it should be. Elige with the biggest of all of them, perhaps. Little Johnny looking happy.
It's obviously an anti-eco round, but the manner in which Elige spins around here and gets the headshot is pretty sick. Even in slow motion, that's incredibly fast. So
this is where things get interesting, because now we've got full guns and no AK, or rather, excuse me, no AWPs in play. But it's a bit of a force, even though it is M4s, because look at the utilities. It's light. They'll use smokes to slow things down, but that first pick's huge, because now without kits, they've given themselves a chance until Sponge overextends just slightly inside middle, and it throws it back Liquid's way.
I do wonder if it had been worth for Renegades in this round to, instead of going for full M4s, maybe bite the bullet and take a FAMAS.
FAMAS and some utilities, yeah. I mean, we see lots of teams doing that, and more so a kit, like just for the one kit.
Yeah, exactly.
Because how many times do we see that be a factor?
This is very one-dimensional now, and it could still pay off for them because they do take the player advantage. But super high risk, high reward here. Yam's going to get caught. Both players dropping down. That could very well transition into a bomb plant. Both CTs going to be coming from... I was going to say from CT side, but in actual fact, they're splitting up. Havoc will be coming round into Vent.
He may not spot a Dren here. Pushed so far forward. Tries to bounce out of smoke. But a Dren heard that hit the wall and doesn't even hesitate to keep his eyes pointed in the right direction. JKS 23 HP is going to look for exits, but soon going to have to move, and is doing so already because he's got to get far away from the C4 to hold on to the M4. And this will give Liquid now 4 rounds again to start things off. It's looking good again.
And not to harp on this point too much, but let's say, hypothetically, Renegades, they went for a FAMAS or 2 FAMASs. They likely would have a defuse kit in this situation and potentially something like a Molotov. And that 2v2 would have been a lot more realistic for them to retake that site. So it's like that domino effect again of CS. I think they do manage to save the weapon at the end. Slight saving grace for the CTs, but still, this start has been anything but smooth for them. I remember they won the first round as well, right? And then they just got force-board.
It's definitely the most divine beard in all of CS.
It's pretty sexy.
JKS, we'll see if that one M4 can come into play. It's got armor as well, no one else does. Good force push by Sponge, but ultimately all he does is damage to Nitro. Not a kill. Would have been beneficial if he could get more, but maybe that damage is enough because Hiko, or rather Havoc, excuse me, as Hiko follows up on Sponge, is able to get the kill when Nitro walks in. That leaves it to 4-on-4. And they catch the rotation and the flank from Azur. That's big as well, because if he could have taken one down and picked up a rifle, it could have been huge. Instead, Elige will just close this out.
I think you called this as well earlier on. You said it's probably going to come down to who gets more T rounds.
That's the thing. On this map, absolutely. I expected this to already be more contested, more back and forth. I mean, it's early yet. We did have an eco and a gun round go against Renegades, so we haven't really seen them bring out weaponry just yet. They can still fight their way back into it, but the problem is starting out this way on the CT side. Money bonus is going to work for them now, but economic game CT sided, you've got to buy more utilities, the guns are more expensive. It's just that much harder to claw back into games, so ultimately this is the perfect start for Team Liquid.
And that's the thing as well, like even if Renegades do start to get AWPs in play, the foundations have already been built for Liquid with 5 rounds, and obviously Brick is a lot more sturdy than paper is, and that's what Renegades are going off right now. They're going off that money, they're dangling in front of them saying, okay, yes, we're 4 rounds behind, but we can get AWPs, right? We can get M4s, we can get decent weapons. Well, that's only half the battle. You have to then win and convert the round afterwards.
And we just saw briefly when the money popped up that there's already 5 digits worth on some of the Liquid players. There you go, 12-4-5-0 on a Dren, in fact. And he, and this map in particular, will not touch that AWP unless he needs to, so look for them to run the 5 rifle. Speaking of it, though, we are going to see that double op setup again from Renegades. They used it on Cash because they needed, or rather, excuse me, on Cobble because they needed desperately back in, and this time it gets 1 plus a tag, and Havoc somehow manages to get away, 4 HP. Remember, though, they had the first pick last time they ran this, and it went against them. Azur makes their chances a heck of a lot better, though, by taking down Elige.
He does. The bomb, however, has been dropped in a position that can be reclaimed for Liquid. Still a minute and 10 to play with, so the mind games could come into effect. And the fact that 2 players are very low now in the sense of Havoc and Azur could start to make Renegades doubt their positions. Boost up onto Fugly here on the boxes. And just desperately trying to get that opening pick. If they can get a kill, it is very doable for Liquid. And they do have more than enough time to make that a reality. 2 players now in mid, looking for the crossfire. Bomb's just chilling outside of main. So I feel this is a round that Renegades, they have to lose this in this kind of situation, you know? It would be more them losing than Liquid necessarily winning.
I kind of agree with you, but the one benefiting factor right now for Team Liquid is obviously the HP disadvantage that Havoc and Azur have. Not to mention Yam. I mean, he's got an AWP. It's only going to take him 1 shot. Same can be said for Havoc, but if either of those guys go down early enough, it gives them a chance. And there we go. Now they've got 2 kills back, plus the 2 low HP players back. Still in this. A Sponge gets back to Hiko. It does allow the bomb to go down. Good placement, though, already as they swarm the site. But Fugly, that's a huge kill to take JKS. Can't spray through the back of the forklift, but Nitro now pops out. And this is just brilliant from Liquid. They've played this so well to walk back into the site. We saw Havoc miss 1 shot on the entry. That potentially could have been enough. And I don't know, did they lose it in your opinion, Vince?
Yep. That's pretty much what I'm saying. Like, from that point on, if somehow Liquid take the round, it's more Renegades throwing it away than necessarily Liquid performing fantastically. Now, don't take anything away from Liquid. That was still solid, but Renegades, like, their positions, man.
The one good thing that Liquid did is after they lost the first 2 players, they slowed it down massively, and we saw them deploy the Molotov on doorway, the smoke on main. So basically, they baited out the utilities the few utilities as well that they knew Renegades had. Oh, Yam. That's pretty. As is that, through the smoke from Sponge. The Deagles with 2 already.
You need to record yourself, like, doing these English voices, man. I would definitely buy that.
I blame Paula. I never did this until I met him.
Fantastic Deagle work. Gives Renegades a chance in this round, but still, when you look at the weapons, yes, you've got a player advantage, but you're well and truly behind when it comes down to equipment. Adren has just fired on in with the AWP. Still an AK in the hands of Yam. After that ridiculous 1 dig. I think he was fully flashed as well, right? And running.
Yeah, well, fully flashed for sure. I think the mechanic, he probably strafed back in time to hit that shot, but JKS now got to take down Adren. Things looking good again on an eco here for Renegades. They didn't close the last one, but they had the advantage this time more so. 3 versus 1. They know exactly where Nitro is. They're going to push into it. He's limited by the fire, so he can't even get himself into safety. And Havoc shows up just in time to take him down. That's going to give them their 2nd round, and kind of fitting in a way that they win it on an eco because this resets the money bonus, but they'll have money to buy in where they didn't invest in the previous round.
Very true. Here is the Deagle shot. Boom. Ridiculous. I think Fugly will probably be a tiny bit pissed after that. I know I would be if I was in his position. But these things happen. That is Counter-Strike in a nutshell. As you mentioned, though, with that eco victory, Renegades are definitely in a good position to start to get some consecutive rounds on the board. A slower start for Liquid here. Bomb, as you can see, is dropped. That's normally an indication that terrorists are going hunting for frags and not going to commit to anything just yet.
Slower pace now as well. That door already being open does pull a player from mid, so they've rotated 1 up highway in the form of Yam. Is that an opening for Liquid to try and go through mid? They stick around at A, and maybe that's not the right approach because they lose Elise. Great shot by Adren, though, and here we go. So he does bring out that T-side AWP. He's got so much money, it's not like it's a desperate play, but it pays off. More so at Nitro.
Very smart.
You can't say enough about him.
Yeah, he's played so well. Again, though, the pop goes in first and drops, and Azur, in a blink of an eye, takes down 2 players, gives Renegades the advantage, and they have control over the bomb for a few more seconds. Adren has landed another shot, and there's Sponge and JKS. A huge round for Renegades.
And this is it. This is what they haven't been able to do. They did it at Cobble at the very end when it was 11-4, but definitely didn't do it on Overpass. They've reset the round bonus, but also won the 2nd round immediately after. This is their chance to get back into the half. And Liquid, beautiful. Again, a momentum-based team. It's a good thing they've already got 6 rounds on this T side because now it's not certain whatsoever. This next round, I mean, look at the money. Whoever wins this is going to be in a great situation. And Liquid going to try and contest this mid-control again. Sponge is stuck in behind the sandbags. It's decent if you can hit the first shot, but you're so limited in your movement. And there you go. Adren just stares at that corner. The second his head shows up, he just clicks it.
Yeah, it's very true. It is a very limiting position, and that 1 Molotov can pretty much neutralize you. There's the 2nd opening pick for Liquid, and it's just off the back of Renegades peeking. I can understand the player behind sandbags going for the information, but that 2nd kill was completely unneeded. JKS is going to be flashing, and he's forced into a position where he has to go for an aggressive play.
Oh, he didn't
I
spot
can completely understand this. There's the first one. Second frag as well. He's hungry for a third, but he will get traded out, and the moment of heroics has came and gone, and Liquid have put another round on the board.
Big that Hiko was in that position, because how quickly they would have had to turn around and divide their attention as they tried to take the site, and with one player in heaven, it could have just been enough to catch them off guard. So him stopping that flank before it got any worse. I mean, this was big, though. When he walked through the smoke, he almost didn't see that right there when he swung around, just moving a little bit too quick for his eyesight. Either way, it still worked out for 2 kills as they had no idea where he came from. And it's going to be a double scout force to complement these M4s that they are able to afford on Renegade's side. And Adren's going to go back to the WP. Watch the aggressive push, not able to hit the shot as Azur does go down to 46. But they're still at the doorway, and Alish pushes forward. There's 2 of them there, therefore it's double the damage. He does a massive amount against Sponge, who just shows too much body. And Adren, he'll take it. Follow that up with JKS going down to Fugly. And it's a one-man advantage for Team Liquid. Nitro knows the situation that Havoc's stuck inside the corner as well. So a very aggressive round from Renegades, and they get caught out by it.
They certainly do. I suppose one thing that may be in the back of Renegade's mind is that their CT sides have been weaker so far today in this best of 3. That was definitely the case on Cobblestone, so maybe their T side is going to be something spectacular. And it's going to have to be, because they're going to be trailing at the end of this half, whatever happens. Already 8 rounds on the board for Liquid, 8-3. And now it's just damage limitation from Renegades. They need to get as many of these as possible. I think anything less than 5 is GG. I can't see them coming back from a 10-5 deficit here on Cash.
Well, we talked about the economic possibilities for Renegades to finally get back in. That's been extinguished by Liquid.
Look at that buy up for Renegades.
I love how I love how I said Adren would not use the AWP on this side, but he's been getting picks with it. He makes me eat my words. I think he's been showing a lot more confidence in general lately, to be honest.
To be fair to your point, though, I think that's a direct result of how Renegades has been playing their CT side. He's realized there's pickings out there. You know, you've got to adapt to how your enemy's playing.
Well, right now they're just going to keep this anti-eco rolling. It'll be 9 rounds for Liquid against the 3 of Renegades. We called it the group of death. Renegades have been to the 2 previous majors. Liquid, they've hardly had decent results on European soil, but in the driver's seat so far on Cash. Not done just yet. Good shot by Yem as well to take down Nitro and get a gun out of at least his hands. It's a bit far for him to run and try and save it without being countered, and already bullets fly through the walls onto his position and eventually into his body.
9-3. For me, Renegades may need the rest. They very well may need the rest here. And it all starts here. A decent enough buy-up in terms of grenades. They've got Molotovs to play with, 3 of them in total. Smokes, flashes, 1 HE, and 1 defuse kit. And a pretty standard setup here as well from them. The 2-1-2 approach. No one playing aggressive. They're going to go for the boost. And I think they're going to land it. There we go, from Az's perspective. Yeah, and this is the first time I think we've seen them boost.
It'd be interesting to see if Liquid check that as a result. It's commonly checked, but is there any indication they've gone for it? Usually Nitro just busts in and rips everyone apart. I would expect the second man is going to have to find it. Usually that's Alish, and Alish is the one that's close enough to it.
Yeah. But the reason why this boost is so good is because if people don't check it, you just get an easy spray down. And even if people do, if you've got a crossfire set up on A, it's still very, very hard to get rid of. Because you're coming through the doors, and you're directly looking up to your right.
It's a broad angle, right? You leave yourself open.
Indeed.
And the door opens, Hiko. Now, this is one of the other things to note. And you're seeing it right now. Fugly's on the B site. Hiko's on A. So we talk about this lurk potential from Hiko, but Cash in specific, Hiko only ever goes to Squeakly. Fugly does exactly this on B. So they both kind of occupy a lurking role depending on the map, and then the other 3 members, the core 3, they'll just rotate back and forth based on that information and the picks that either of them are able to achieve. And it's really good because both people are so familiar with these spots that they know exactly what's going on at all times. It's not like one round Hiko was at A and didn't pick up on the subtle nuances of the defense at B. Fugly knows exactly what they're doing and apparently exactly where they're playing, because he'll take Yam on the entry, and it's down to just Havoc and Azur. And not only that, they took down mid-control in the process, so Liquid had everything available to them that round.
Just a phenomenal round there from Liquid, pretty much as flawless as you're going to see a T round. And we're getting to that point now where Renegades have to just save.
This is a good spot to do so.
Yeah, it certainly is. And I am almost 100% sure Liquid will go hunting for these weapons. There's no reason for them not to. They've got plenty of funds.
More so because they're heading into round 14.
Indeed.
I mean, you're getting that much closer to the half. It's not like you losing a weapon is going to be any more costly.
Whereas taking these two M4s away from Renegades could force them into like a pistol or a Mag 7 or something like that. So it's much more worthwhile for Liquid to lose these on the off chance. You can see their economy just before it switched over. I think I saw some with like 15k. That's pretty much across the board, so they're good to go here. Both M4s were kept though from the CTs. Here's a boost.
Yeah, I love that the run boost was brought back in. There was a time when certain leagues allowed it, most didn't, and then eventually everyone just agreed to allow it. And there's been some good creativity. There's actually one you can do in mid as well in this map. It's not as viable because you become quite open, but if you get up on the little lip on the garage, good forward presence, and we are going to see a scout buy again in round 14. It's only one because they've got rifles this time. Another run boost for Azure because it never really came into play, but it might be spotted more easily because Nitro's coming up from highway and already has that shot. I'll get back to my point about that other run boost in a minute, but it's now down to just 2 Renegades members again, and I said we might not see so much of a T-side at half. Liquid have silenced me here. So the bomb's going to go down again.
That's the issue with going for the boost. It really is. It leaves yourself very vulnerable. JKS is going to try and make something happen. There's 2 frags. Gives a real chance at this. The flashbang, though, is on point. And there you go. They go for the boost. It takes 2 people out of the... for a few moments, and they'll go for the boost. And if you don't have control over mid, that's what's going to happen. They're going to come up the highway. There's no way of you seeing that. There's no way of you stopping that from Az's perspective. And from there on in, he just dies, and that's the round over.
Impressive stuff. The other run boost I was going to say, you can actually get up on top of that lip. I guess if you're, from a T-side perspective, looking out to the right above the white box, and you can actually run boost straight over top of the boost in mid, but I can't remember who it was that did that about 8 months ago. It was like the only time I've ever seen it used in a competitive game. It's not really viable. You get spotted pretty quickly when you do it. Still fun to watch.
Oh, I always love watching boosts. And a part of me, because I'm kind of a douchebag, has a bit of a chuckle when they fail them. Just saying.
Well, that bomb is down now, actually. Sponge finding Nitro. He was holding on to it. Elise gets back to Azure, but they've got no one else in that big garage. Sponge knows he can't necessarily stay that forward on aggressive toward it, so he's actually rotated back through the vents to give it up. But with the picks, they can fall out and spread across the map until Hiko takes Havoc. Now they're in an awkward position. They've got to play a retake game onto the A site.
The retake game with no defuse kits and only 1 smoke. Good luck, Renegades. That would have been the perfect start, but Hiko somehow gets the better of Sponge, even though everything was against him. Here comes JKS, and he started to show he's still in this game, but very similar to Overpass, where he's the only player with more kills than deaths. There's not much he can do by himself. Here comes the flashbang, spots the first player, looks to spin on a sixpence and land the shot, but that's not going to be the case. Has another crack at the kill and does get it, but the time is ticking down. And without the defuse kit, all Fugly has to do is wait, and this will be 12-3. And there we go, 12-3 on T-side of Cash. Renegades, do they have another comeback in store?
Well, we've seen 11-4 work for them, 13-2 work against them. Split the difference?
I'm not necessarily sold on that.
And is this patch on the CT side still affecting Renegades? Because they look lost a lot. The duels more than anything. I mean, the early picks, they haven't found them at all. The only rounds they've been able to pick up the early picks are when they go to that dual op setup. And that's not affordable because how far on the back foot they are.
Yeah. And the other thing as well is they may not even ever get to that point, because if they lose the pistol round, that's pretty much it. You know, you're expecting the pistol round and the next 2 rounds to go the way of
it's true as well.
whoever wins, that would be 15.
Yep.
And then you're looking at that's pretty much game. So Renegades, I can't stress enough how huge this pistol round is for them.
Fast play toward mid from at least Havoc. He's just going to try and spot out rotations because the rest are heading toward B. That's where Hiko's waiting, who tries to do damage to Yam, but not successful. Yam, in fact, hardly loses anything. It's JKS that loses health in the process, but that allows the bomb now to get onto the platform. Havoc follows up on Elige, and now he's cutting off all the rotations. Nitro as well, and Havoc's been a little quiet, but these kills are very important. As Fugly drops in, he'll eventually die as well, and Renegades could be onto the start they had on Cobble. We'll see if that pays off.
Solid round. Solid round there. But again, they still trail by 8 rounds.
Semmler, get out of the way. Why are you blocking the shot, man?
He's a big dude. Oh. There we go. He's off. He's had enough of watching this game, apparently. He was filling in for you on host. I think you're back to host after this, aren't you?
We'll see. I think so, yep.
But either way, Liquid, again, this is the position they're in. They don't have to bother with the force buy. There's such a huge lead for them. They can wait for a double up setup if that's what they want to do, even if it puts them at like 12-6. That is A-OK as far as they're concerned. And here comes Sponge. As expected, Renegades are going to pick up the first couple frags. This should convert into the A site. And that bomb plant plus the round. And Team Liquid are going to move together.
JKS able to shut down Nitro before he can get close enough for the pistol to come into effect against these rifles, and that will seemingly be the case for everyone remaining on Team Liquid. Haven't seen the Zeus kill yet, but we've seen a lot of them bot this series.
That's a good point, actually. We saw Nothing get, what, like 3 of them?
Oh man, he's gotten at least 3. I think there was 7 in that first series Cloud9 played on Monday, or Tuesday, I guess, as it were.
Yeah.
Feels like a Monday because we're doing a week-long event.
So here comes another eco from Liquid. Again, they are opting for the massive buy in the next round. I'm expecting to see at least 1 AWP, potentially even 2. They're going to go for the stack on the B side. And the bomb is on this side of the map right now from Renegades, but whether it's going to push into the site or not is a whole different matter altogether. What I'd like to see the other 2 players do here is actually be pushing out more aggressively and trying to scout out what's going on so they can get an idea of where this stack is. Because the issue now is, like, Renegades have no idea where the CTs are. Now they're starting to get an idea.
Yeah, I'm just gonna get the scouting report, but look at that, no one's peeking. I love this X-ray. This is like the perfect way for us to see it, but if they only knew what we know, they're gonna walk in. Good shot for Sponge to take down 1, makes it more probable, but Nitro pops out at the right time to counter it. As they're onto Fugly, can Hiko, there's still 3 here, can Hiko do anything about it? As they continue forward, Azur gets another 2, dropped eventually, bombs down, 37 seconds, lots of time to recover it, and more importantly, Hiko with only 9 HP. And now definitely have his position figured out. Tries to use the smoke to his advantage, but eventually it will all be for naught. They've cut the lead in half, 12-6. But now the guns come out for Team Liquid.
Curiosity comes in the sense for me what they're going to buy.
This will also be, to me, the first indication of how much the patch will hurt Team Liquid, because this, in my opinion, is their best CT-sided map. So if they struggle here, it might be a key.
Right, so they've gone for the 1 AWP in the hands of Adren, and he's gone mid. Look at this, though.
4 A4s as well, so they have definitely switched things up. Hiko used to use the weapon. Look how fast this is.
And Lee just goes straight through middle. No one checks that. The flashbang as well. Just pure control. It was a 1-3-1 formation at the beginning. 3 players just going straight out of connector. And just like that, Liquid have complete dominance. Make that another frag. Somehow Azur gets round the back of Liquid, but can't convert that into a frag. This is just an absolute collapse. A capitulation for Renegades, and they take no players with them to their grave.
They're so good in that A site. And we saw, I mean, it started off with the push in mid, which was a bit awkward and very, very fast. But Fugly, just in behind that quad position. Again, Nitro used to play there with him. Now they've switched Nitro out onto that highway, and he's got the accuracy to be the perfect swing player. And if they can still lock A down without him even coming into the fold, like, it's ridiculous. So 13 rounds, they take the first gun, still weapons and money available to Renegades, though.
Identical start as well. I'm getting deja vu. Like, that's literally a carbon copy of what we just saw in round 19. And there's no reason not to. It worked incredibly well. It is starving out mid-control, which is such a key aspect of Cash. JKS, though, is going to get the first frag. And that will spread Liquid that little bit thinner across the board. The bomb's been dropped just outside of Garage. And for now, the CTs are happy enough just to boost up. This is a delayed boost, though, from Fugly, but it's not going to matter a great deal because it hasn't been spotted from Renegades. As it gets the Molotov kill onto Elite, what happened there?
There's a slight smoke on the edge of it. I don't think he realized that they didn't quite overlap as expected, so he burns alive. It's 2 men down. Nitro, great shot again with the AK, and if the M4s are problematic, just pick up the guns your opponents have. Sponge, though, takes Hiko. Now he's got an AWP. They've pushed beyond enemy lines as well as he's at tree. With the smoke in front of Nitro as well, he won't have vision of the bomb planter. And Fugly, he's way off site right now, as Azur's held him in position on A. That means Nitro's going to look for an exit. Surely he has to, and Sponge with the AWP gets him. Fugly at least able to keep the AK for now, but they'll surely hunt. They can afford to. 3 members up. And this will actually do more damage to Liquid's economy than the last round certainly did to Renegades, as they only secured the first gun and then lost the ensuing. Much better approach that time from Renegades.
Yeah, solid round. Opening picks are always fantastic from a T's perspective here on Cash. That's what they got. It spread Liquid out, and they did force through the chinks in the armor. Liquid could have gone for a force. Instead, they go for the eco again. I completely agree with this decision. No point trying to cut this one too fine and give Renegades more opportunities, because Renegades are slowly but surely creeping back into this.
Oh, great shot by Yam.
Yep. Sponge is there as well, and this time around it's not as big a deal for Liquid to get caught out and picked off, because they're in effectively just pistols, so they want to get the information. But the last round was a bit of a warning shot, I think, from Renegades, because Liquid lost 3 players just literally off picks. Although one of them did burn alive in smoke, which is kind of unfortunate.
Bomb has been planted.
It's a pretty cool looking 5.7 skin.
It is, isn't it? It's the same one that I think everyone on Flipside uses, if I'm not mistaken. They deckle them up with their stickers. I wonder if it was given to him as an honorary gift for his ESWC time with them. But now
this would be out the window at that point. We did have one of those moments. Me and DDK were casting a best of 3 yesterday that was just unbelievably crazy.
Final one of the evening, Copenhagen Wolves ended up winning that over Lounge. Yep. Those of you who didn't join us, Nitro's going to go for this reverse boost. Look at Yam, though. He's on top of the truck. He's further back. He's ready for it. Doesn't hit the jump shot. Or rather, the jump with the shot. He just shot slightly too high above the head, and they fall off it as a result. They now know that that's not an option. They dare not mess with that. So the 5 rifles of the counter-terrorist side actually stacked up right now with 3 players toward mid will fan out across the map. And they will bring, actually, Nitro more toward his perpetual home inside that A site. So back to tradition here.
Yeah, back to the standard stuff. 3 Molotovs in the hands of Renegades. These could be thrown on either site. So again, it's going to be one of those touchy-feely rounds where Renegades tries to poke and probe Liquid until they find a weakness that they can utilize. Odren just tapping through the smoke. Isn't going to get anything for his troubles. And meanwhile, Renegades finally start to make a move up mid. 30 seconds left to play with, and it looks as though the bomb is going to wrap its way around into the A side. 2 players still there, though, from Liquid.
Well-timed flash keeps JKS out a little bit longer, but no smokes, no kits either. Elise rotating out. They're giving this up because they know that the bomb's over toward that A main, so the information call is correct, but that 1 kill, luckily Hiko gets it back, could have pulled them off of it. Instead, they get everything on the entrance. Well done by Renegades. Elise at least gets 1 in return, and does still give them the man advantage, but... And you were pointing out at that TK.
Yam wrecked Azur in the back of the head.
Yeah.
He did get for a 2-for-1 though.
Well, that would have been, yeah, and that's the thing, because that kill actually now gives Liquid a bit of a chance here. It would have been 2-on-2 otherwise. Actually, 2-on-3 the other way otherwise, but there it is. Yam and Sponge going to follow this up. It's left to Hiko. He's able to get 1, continues that spray through the box, and Hiko does it! The man clutches again, no kit! I think he's just barely got enough time, but this is going to be tight!
Yeah, he's got it. Big Hiko comes in again for another clutch. It's how he started Cobblestone off.
Insane.
It's only fitting he's come full circle.
And this is huge for him to win this round right now, because again, the economic factor, this would have given another save round against them, and then Renegades are firmly back in it. So winning that clutch, I mean, this is what Hiko has to offer in this team. Is it going to be enough? 14 rounds for Liquid.
Even though they win that round, you can still see the economic damage that they've suffered. 3 FAMASs. That range should not come out on top. I say that, they go for a triple peek through B. That is not something you're expecting from Renegade's perspective, but I love that. Realizing they're likely going to be second best when it comes to the weaponry they have. Force something. Push the envelope. Try something different.
Yeah, I'm still watching this angle toward mid. dancing on the right side. Elige not willing to peek out just yet. That's Nitro, excuse me. The name in the X-ray from this far away from the screen. It's tricky.
It is. It's been a strange old series as well.
Good shot by Yam, though, and that's the problem, is Nitro gave him so much space.
This is why mid's so important in this map.
Absolutely, because look at the problem. Now there's only one player left on that A site. He could just stay alive long enough for the rotates. It might help, but it's Hiko, and never count Hiko out of the round. He's going to spray through, can't find the second kill, but Nitro will. That allows him to turn his attention to the left. And remember, that bomb is still down in front of the E-box. As Renegades, they need to secure more kills. Low HP for Havoc, and that allows Nitro, who's rotated the long way, to pick up yet another. And it's going to be map and match point, excuse me, for Team Liquid. Impressive stuff, it has to be said, from the American squad.
It's important not to underrate Hiko's role there. He only got one kill, but he by himself stopped the push and did quite a bit of damage to another player or two, actually. So that was huge for Team Liquid. Allowed them to wrap themselves in. He bought the time up for the rest of his team. Now Renegades, the simple fact is they have to win the next 7 rounds to take us into overtime, or Liquid will be progressing through into the winners section of this group stage.
And they've got 3 Galils plus a Deagle to kick that off with. Bounced Molotov. Havoc shoots through that flash and actually does take down Fugly. So they've got a man up now to work with, but Nitro was also snuck forward. He'll take Havoc in turn and drop the bomb, but as that's traded, it now puts a lot of pressure on Adren, who will have smoke to his right and a player to his left. Which does he elect to go for first? It doesn't matter. The terrorists have already won the round as Renegades pick up 9.
Great round for Renegades. Maybe there is another twist, another turn in this tale yet. I've got to be honest though, in my mind, I'm kind of counting them out. Then again, I did on Cobblestone, and we saw how that one played out at the end.
I mean, the good news, if they were on 14 and it started to crumble away, then it becomes a problem, but they've at least got that 15th round Liquid. They can definitely afford to save here, and naturally,
oh, yeah.
Why would you even consider forcing up with this kind of a lead? But it takes the pressure off, right? They know they're at least going to overtime. There's not... It would be disastrous, but it's not like it's the end of the world.
To be fair, they could probably double eco here and still be fine, because their economy's not fantastic.
That was interesting that both those players got away and that boost didn't really happen. I thought they were going to just leave someone with their head poking up watching the vent, but Renegades will slow things down a bit, take the bomb toward that long position on A. Sponge is now checked out mid, so they'll be able to walk and swarm this A side, even though it's a stack.
Yeah, not really too much to talk about in that round. It's just a case of Renegades cleaning up the anti-eco. Now, this is what I'm talking about. I'd like them to double eco here, because they've got like about 3.5 to 4K.
And it looks like they're going to. They picked up a few utilities and P250s.
Four
there
grenades.
we go. 4 tasers.
So what do you reckon? We're going to have a fast push through mid, 4 grenades, and then just hold angles with taser?
I'm just going to say right now, if this is the round the taser comes into play, this would be like the opening to the debate, right? We've already seen a little bit from Cloud9, but if they win this on a taser round... Yeah, I mean, basically put themselves in positions where they become viable.
And they did go for the 4 nades up mid as well, but Renegade's very smart. They just held back. They realized it's probably another eco. Very smart. Here comes the play, though. JKS is going to be picking up the first frag onto Elise. The force is in, and these tasers simply aren't working. They were not able to get close enough to utilize them to their full potential. And in doing so, it is going to be another round to Renegades. Cheeky from Adren. He's waiting for someone to push him.
I know, right? We all want to see it. Oh, Fugly's going to do it too. There it is. Finally, we get one. But only one. Therefore, it won't be overly costly for Renegades going into the next round.
At least Yam can smile, right?
Yeah, he's got a little cheeky grin on his face about that. But again, we still sit on match point. And like you said, double eco. All the options available to Team Liquid. Be interesting to see how aggressive they go with it. If they want to bring out an AWP on a trend, they do. I thought they may even consider double. And again, they'll stack mid. These smokes with the lower height, I guess, now they can see above it with that boost. So they initially put Adren above it, but no one comes through on mid, and Alicia's able to work toward at least the vents. So now they've got that swing position established. They can lead off with a third player toward A.
Renegades have typically struggled in these kind of scenarios, though. When the round's dragged on a tiny bit and they don't get mid control, they seem to run out of ideas. So you can see here, Alish has resumed his position in mid. He's going to be smoking to keep that wall there for a bit longer. Looking forward here, if they can pick him off, resume that control over mid, come up highway, get round the back of Liquid. This is still doable, and they're going to go for the boost. Elige could be the linchpin here for the CTs. But he's backed away.
And they have brought Nitro again back over to that A side as well to work with Fugly. Havoc gonna Molotov Fugly's position. Smoke in front of it as well. That's tossed out from the doorway, so Fugly shuffles to his right. That's where Yam is again, mid-control giving up. And is this gonna be enough for Renegades to walk into the site? Fugly's still alive toward NBK right now, but only picks up one. And Sponge J, those might be his two biggest kills in the round. As again, I go to the Chris J reference on it, and I'm not sure why, but either way, Elige gets back in with one. It's a 3-on-3 post plant, and the Molotov at the top of Highway will keep Elige off of the retake for just that little bit longer as Adren searches for the shot with the AWP.
Sponge with another frag. JKS chimes in as well. So on Hiko, we've seen him pull off crazier plays before. They're both pretty low. He does also have a defuse kit. This is doable. Second frag comes in. Renegades, they need to hold on to this round or they're going to be out. Hiko snaps across looking for the frag. Misses out on his opportunity maybe. The bomb is ticking down. He does get the frag. Has he got the time? This is going to be so close.
No, doesn't have it.
And it's going to blow up in his face. Oh, dearie me, there is.
So close again for Hiko to clutch it out, and now after a double eco, things do start to get a little bit curious for Team Liquid. Sponge walks in. I mean, those two kills were huge. Again, though, but mid-control initially started that off. We saw Renegades get up toward that white box, and as soon as Fugly wanted to get into a safer position to get out of those smokes and away from the Molotov, he realized he couldn't because he was pitched in from Highway.
One thing is that Yam had a golden opportunity to land a frag and he actually missed it. And I thought from that point on, that could be the final nail in the coffin. I wasn't jumping, taking into account the jumping jack that is Sponge, getting 2 frags on the site. That being said, though, here we go through into round 28. Eco from Liquid, but they have picked up the frag onto Yam and converted the AWP across to Adren, which is pretty crucial. Bomb's been planted, though. I don't think the economy from Liquid's going to be great, so they may even think about just saving this AWP.
I think they should in this situation.
Fugly's way back, yeah. This is the smart play.
They can hunt him. They've got so much time to do it right now. He's going to try and work himself to T-spawn, but if he walks further around that corner right now, Renegades will spot him. With 2 players as well. If he even hits the first, there's going to be a second one on him, and now from B tunnels, he's going to get pushed. Sponge walks out. Finally manages to dodge the initial attack. Look at how quickly they're swarming on top of him. Match is going to be paused as well. Called by Team Liquid. This has to be a tactical timeout.
Absolutely will be. So here's some key things over the last few rounds that I guess I've noticed. And if I have, you can guarantee that likes of Adren and Hiko have mid-control. Is absolutely
it's abysmal
vital.
Right now.
Yeah, it's vital. Yeah, just confirm there that it is a tactical pause as expected. So I think they need to be running some different kind of strats towards mid. Elige has been there by himself, but then he ended up pulling away because he was by himself. As I said, the smoke's cleared and he couldn't afford to stay there. So maybe have 2 players in mid. Maybe try pushing up aggressively. I'm not sure. Well,
again, they have been switching up the strategy a little bit. Now throw a Dren toward A with the AWP from time to time. We haven't seen them there very much with it, and they're not going to be able to afford it here, I don't think. I didn't quite catch the money before we switched to these lovely camera shots. However, if they're going to bring Nitro back over there, then they need a Dren and Elige in mid right now. And Elige should, in my opinion, do it by trying to get vent control. Because then he can swing to the B side a lot easier, and worst case scenario, a Dren can start to lead off on a quick rotation toward A, and at least he gets information when they walk up.
That's so true. Like, you see a lot of the likes of Virtus Pro, right? Snacks plays vents a lot. And it's such a crucial area of the map because, as you say, you can hold the angle. If things go bad on B, you just drop down, no problems. But I don't think I've seen Elige play vent a single time.
He's been in there once, and he only got there the once, and they didn't come mid that round. I think that was about 3 rounds ago.
And I think there isn't necessarily great Molotovs down either from Renegades, so I'm just trying to...
We also saw Fugly burn alive in there one round.
Yeah, we did. That's what I was kind of going back to.
Okay, so there we go. They do have enough money for the AWP on a Dren. Slightly lighter on utilities as a result, but still has a smoke, which is crucial. And Nitro's actually going to be the one that heads toward mid. Quick drop from Adren and B. We haven't seen this yet. Oh, they're tearing them apart as Elige goes forward. JKS down. Caught with the nade out. Havoc will get the trade at least, but Hiko's here to save the day. And one of the plays we haven't quite seen, and I'd be curious if the window's blown out at Skyroom right now, because what they like to do, Hiko, when Elige goes forward like that, he'll actually knife He won't even shoot out the window, because when he shoots out the window, it indicates that it's clearly a shot, which means the flash is coming. He'll knife out the window so that they don't hear a bullet. They think it is the flash. Okay, window's still there, but they'll turn away from the flash, and then he flashes it. So then they turn away right when Elise peeks out and then gets the peek. But that time didn't do it. Elise just went on his own.
It's like the next level mind games.
Yeah, I mean, just not having that bullet, right? The second they hear the window, they go, oh, nade, and it's not.
Yeah. Absolutely. Renegades, 2-4 trade early on in this round. Since then, it has been eerily quiet, understandably so. So much rests on this next round, and potentially the one after. Still a player in the form of... My eyesight's terrible. I think that's Azza. No, it's actually Sponge with the AWP. Okay. In main. The other two, however, are residing over on the B side. That Molotov comes out. He's going to force the hand of the CTs to rotate. 20 seconds to play with. Now they push on the site.
This is an interesting entry point from Sponge. But meanwhile, it's going to all come down on B. We'll see if they can find Sponge offsite. They do. Fugly gets him, and now it's down to just Havoc. All that remains. He's going to have to fight for the chances of Renegades to play for a spot today. They're not going to get it. Liquid will move on to play the Germans in the next match. And winner of that, well, it'll be straight through to the major. Could the Americans pick up 3 in a row? It would be spectacular. They've got a huge opponent to go against, and for Australia, that's 2 teams now that have to do it the hard way. Winter Fox awaits.
I'll tell you one thing. Yes, Liquid win that game. I do not think they'll be happy with that performance, though. I think they should have closed out a lot quicker than they ended up.
I mean, both here and Cobblestone, and now we do have to look to both these teams. How much is this update really affecting their CT sides? That's not a discussion for us. I think that's better suited by the analysts, and I do believe backup Sadokist in the form of the much better version Semler is ready with the panel.
Thank you, Mini-Me. Okay, so... How are we digesting this series? Because it's been, I mean, it feels like it's been a whole day long worth of matches, actually. It's been just one best of 3. We've seen everything here. Yeah. I mean, I've quoted, I think, everybody on the panel now on Twitter. Nearly. I think I got Nathan, I think I got you. Yeah, I don't spend enough time with Dan. But regarding this match, let's start with you, Yanko.
Yeah, well, I think most of us predicted it correctly. I mean, that it's going to be a close match, then went with the fanboy 2-0, but that wasn't that just wasn't meant to be, yeah. But it was a kind of a weird match, since like in all 3 maps we had dominant terrorist sides, but I have a feeling that the update has a certain effect to it, but I just felt that both teams had like good executed T sides, and it took a lot of time actually for cities to actually, you know, realize what's happening, what they could do to counter it, and yeah, what do you guys think?
The rhythm of attacks from Liquid especially was really, I thought it was very good. The way they did it, Molotoving, flashing, smoking, then going as one huge wave that makes it so much harder for the CTs to refrag, and that's the advantage on the terrorist side all the time. And when you top it off with some great individual performances from Nitro was really good, like I put him out before the match, that he needs to be good, and he really delivered here. And when you have the force of Hiko in those situations that are not in your advantage, and he's able to come out on top, let's say 7 out of 10 times, and that's a pretty good recipe for success.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite interesting because, you know, now Liquid are able to go up against Mousesports, and the funny thing about this is that both teams had a change of one player, and a player kind of with the ability to do similar roles, and both teams had this decision to actually say, okay, now we need to switch things up in the team, and I think that so far Liquid look much better with their new addition.
All right, well, we're going to go ahead. We're going to get back to this. Don't worry, Dan. Yeah, just don't mean to cut you off rudely here, but we do have Hiko on the floor with Pala, so let's go ahead and hear what the luscious-haired individual has for our main fragger.
The hair is indeed out now. Thanks for pointing that out, Semler. Hiko, feeling good?
Feeling great. I think a lot of people doubted us coming into this event, and the first map was definitely very shaky. You know, things went wrong. We didn't play very well, and you know, even like our online games, we just after the first loss, like we're a whole new team, and we play a lot better.
Talking about that first map, you actually went up 11-4 on the T side, so it was not shaky, but then very shaky on the CT side, and you end up losing. Do you think you were giving them too much space?
Yeah, I think that's something we definitely saw when we watched some demos last night, is they just like to execute a lot. And we had a game plan coming in, and I think we might have just forgot it, and I think we were broke on money a lot of the time. So we gave them a little bit too much space. Like there was a couple rounds where I was just like peeking A-halls, and they just walked out and killed us. But yeah, I mean, after that, going into Overpass, it definitely like something.
What are your thoughts on how Overpass went? What was different?
I think we ended up winning the first side pistol round, actually. And I think that gives us a lot more of an advantage. You know, we have a lot of young guys. Like that first round, the confidence we have after that, you know, the money, the Molotovs, like, especially on a map like Overpass, if you're able to have like all Molotovs, all smokes throughout the entire half of T-side, it's very hard to stop. And I think we just kind of ran with the momentum and just took it all the way through.
Something that my friends on the couch and just in general were saying to me was that the map veto seemed to favour you guys. Were you happy with the map choices?
Yeah, I thought for sure we would play either Overpass or Cobble, but I didn't expect to play both. Obviously, they were good on Cobble, and they ended up beating us. And then Cash, we always knew we were going to play. Like, we played that a lot, and they played that a lot. It's both of our favorite maps. Knew it was going to be close, but we were pretty confident on it. So, yeah, not really surprised there, other than just them picking Cobblestone against us.
It seemed on Cash, like Natu mentioned, that you guys adaptation and your mollies, like just your setups on the sites were really, really, you know, they were fine-tuned. Like you just said, so you've been practicing that map a lot?
Yeah, I think that's probably the map we've practiced the most. I think in the U.S., like out of all the teams that actually are like top teams, I think 90 or 95% actually do play Cash. So we have a lot of teams we can practice against, a lot of different styles we can play against. And I think like, so we took that, we were able to just, you know, get our early picks, boost up mid, get the kills in mid, and just go wherever we wanted to, really.
And so, turning things to yourself personally, how does it feel to be in a team now which presumably you feel you fit very well into and you're getting better results with?
Yeah, I mean, it's feeling great. These guys are awesome people. You know, our addition of James as well. Not, you know, I can't give all the credit to all of what we're doing. James and our analyst Kieran at home definitely help us out a lot. But yeah, like, everyone's personality fits really well. It's like a big troll team. Like, I always say about how I always miss playing with Swag. And these guys are like the same kind of personality. They're young, they're funny, and we all get along very well. So, you know, the good thing is everyone can take criticism. Everyone is, you know, working on getting better. And I think for the long run, it's really going to help us.
Is it Father Hiko? Are you seen as the father of the group? I'm not sure of your age or the others. Are you like the oldest?
Yeah, so me and Adren are both 25, and then everyone else...
Me too.
Ah, nice. And then everyone else is like 18, 19, 20. So, you know, me and Eric definitely are like the old men trying to keep up with the youngsters. But yeah, I think it's working out pretty well, and I'm pretty happy how it feels.
All right, so I need to send it back to the guys at the couch, but you look pretty comfortable there. You had some close clutch moments, and you were doing well with the 1vx situation. So congratulations. I think you're going to be playing Mal's very shortly. But anyway, we're going to head back over to the sofa. So thanks, Hiko. Let's see what happens next.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that the Clutch King himself, you know, he's still feeling it, like he's feeling comfortable. But you get that feeling in the pit of your stomach when you watch Hiko play, when he gets into those clutch situations, that he's just going to make it happen, right? Yeah. All of these diffuse 1v2s and 1v3s, it's just like he's going to get it done.
Yeah, it seems like time after time, all the stars just align for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
Well, I think now we actually have a couple of clips to go over from this best of three as well. So, Yanko, you selected them as well.
Yeah, it's like the first clip, this one actually shows like the basic team play after plant when you're at an advantage. Like, this is how you want to play. Like, after the first guy went in, instant trade. Now Havoc is a 1v2, and Liquid basically, like, Havoc had 0% to win this chance the way Liquid played it.
Hiko was calling on to Nitro to just hold. Don't show yourself. I got you covered. Even though Nitro died there, Hiko got the refrag straight away. So just good communication and great team play.
And similar situations happen like throughout this best of three. Exactly. It seems to be one of Liquid's biggest strengths, like these like 2v2s, 3v3s after plants.
Remember the situation where someone got boosted up with the max 7 up from drop, and Hiko spotted him, died, but instantly there's two guys coming back from B-long, refragging that, and then another situation they went towards A, got a refrag, and just kept the advantage all the time, making sure there's always going to be someone revenging a kill if one of your teammates die, and that's always going to be in your advantage.
And then we also had that one round that we wanted to pick out.
Yeah, I mean, this round was kind of the quintessential way you want to attack the B-bomb site on Cobble. And to be honest, if you're able to perform like this, you have very consistent results, and you really abuse the natural, the natural strengths of the T side. And it's something we were looking for when we saw the Mouse Sports game earlier. We were talking about it, but the execution of it was fantastic. We saw amazing team play, and just the tightness of how the refragging is going on, how they're moving as a unit, how they're smoking along their way along into all the correct positions onto the bomb site was absolutely fantastic, and that allowed them a huge T score. And this continued on. We saw this scene continue on all the maps
and
as well.
We can roll the clip now. They were actually at a disadvantage coming into this. They got picked off by Yam, so they were in a 4v5 situation. As you can see, they took control of drop, and now the way they timed this push, basically, they know, since no one was in drop, they know that the cities are holding passively from somewhere. They predicted that Yam is probably at the chicken house with the op, so they threw this smoke that JK is passing now. That's the smoke that probably allowed them to win the round as well. Like Yam had missed the first shot, but look at this, how when he repicks, he has no chance to get out of that alive. And then back after that, it gets into a 2v2, and as we mentioned, like Liquid is extremely good at winning those rounds, and they clutched it yet again.
It was also noticeable how good their communication was. They kept calm all the time, and all the information that they gave out was actually something important, instead of throwing stupid stuff out there, but just keeping it casual and like no one's stressing too much. No. And just the composure was so great.
But one thing I think the strength of both of these teams is their timing on the timeouts, on when to take those timeouts. It seems like both Sponge and Adren, they really have it down where it's not too late, which is a tendency we've noticed with a lot of teams, where it's like they call a timeout, but it's actually, they're 2 rounds away from getting eliminated, right? And you're just like, well, okay, then how good is this timeout actually going to be? They hit the sweet spot where it's like in the mid of the half rather, and they're starting to see, okay, this is starting to slip away. Boom, like cut it short, stop the momentum. Yeah, what do you think about that?
The thing is, like, as an in-game leader, you don't want to call it too early, because you probably have a couple of ideas in your head about what you would like to do and everything. But then when you see that like plan A, plan B, plan C, it isn't working, then you need to like take a timeout and say, okay, guys, let's see. Maybe you're aware of it, but your team isn't really aware of it. And like what Adren did in that on Cobble, he called a timeout and he said that, like, okay, guys, they're doing their executes really well. They're like really comfortable at it. Let's try and like disrupt them a bit. Let's try. I didn't hear the whole thing, but maybe push somewhere. And
that's exactly
the first
what he
round,
said, though,
the first round after the timeout, they won. Unfortunately, at the end, they ended up losing the map, but you can see how it works.
And it's almost like that round actually was quite cool, because it's almost a similar way that they attacked it as we saw that replay from Cobble, because they had the 2 men up A long and also 2 men facing down through Party into that angle. So like almost all 4 players are attacking almost simultaneously, and so the coordination was really sweet. But generally, like their knowledge as well to play the defaults on the T sides on Overpass was quite impressive too, because we could see that they're really causing their opponents to sweat massively by just taking small areas. Like, okay, they realized that Suez was safe and that the smokes weren't coming over from CT, from Renegades, so they're just taking it for free, and then building into their A control later into the round. And you can see that they perfectly were able to predict how Renegades were moving on their CT side, so they were showing that they can play these kind of blind executes as well as playing the CT rotations and playing it by ear, and also sending out players like Fugly to go get it done. Yeah. And that was impressive. Fugly did a great job opening up some of those rounds.
And they made it really uncomfortable for Renegades to play that aggressive CT as well. I remember one instance on Overpass, specifically in the sewers, the underpass, there was someone who came through the T ladder down, and he sort of just pre-flashed and behind himself and peeked the angle down that corridor, and there's actually 2 guys coming his way. He got the first kill, the second guy has to go back. So when that keeps happening, that type of thing, it's going to make you really hesitant when you're CT side.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you like we point out that CTs are not playing optimally, that they have things that they would have to improve. But I feel that like in this series, mostly it has just been like really well executed. T sides, CTs, both teams tried at some point to maybe push. At some point on Cobble, Renegades tried to PK long with 2 guys. They had a bit of an unfortunate timing there, so it's not like they just stood passively and waited for things to happen, you know.
And also we discussed with Dan, it's going to be interesting to see afterwards the distribution between the CT and T rounds. How has the balance changed in this kind of tournament environment after post-patch?
Yeah. Well, that's the main thing, and Pala touched on that in the interview as well, right? And we're even going so far as to start asking some of the teams that are in the waiting area, right? As far as God B is concerned for Mouse Sports, he says, the hitbox, all that sort of stuff. Maybe when you jump, right, there's a little bit of a change there. The rest of it you kind of just get used to, no problem. The big thing for him, obviously, is the M4A1. And the fact that, in his opinion, everybody just used that gun because it was OP. And now, it's in his opinion, it's worthless. Chris J was just like, like, yeah. wait a second, I think it's great. So obviously there's a split opinion there, which is I think what the Valve are trying to achieve. But yeah, we're seeing a whole lot more T rounds being picked up, I think, across the board.
It has definitely influenced like the teams, since like the majority of players were playing with the M4A1S for such a long time. I think that the biggest change with this update is like that M4A1S is pretty terrible close range because they lowered its rate of fire and everything. Long range, it can still be used, but then it becomes real situational. Maybe you start your position as playing long range, but if you have to go into a retake, which is close range, it's really...
But before we jump the gun, though, I really do want to see all the top 5 teams in the world play one another on land environment before I'm going to make my judgment on what it really is.
Well, the thing is, I guess we're waiting until it comes up to the major, because when's the next big PGL, I suppose, is going to be the next big LAN where we're going to have a few of the top teams at least playing.
I think so, yeah.
But one thing we saw, talking about LAN atmosphere and environments, we saw from Liquid that they had a lot of composure there as a team. I liked the vibe there. I mean, we get to see them actually playing. We get to hear their comms essentially, and that was really interesting because they're quite calm. Hiko seemed to fit in really well, and there wasn't like too much overhyping. There was no overhyping, which is I'm always worried about, because I mean we talked about this. Some teams they come in and they're screaming like, "Come on, guys, let's go!" and it's just so intense right away, and that's very volatile.
Dan, we have the perfect example, I think, of what you're talking about.
Oh, okay.
Ready? We actually have an extra clip, and it is this is demonstrating this kind of case of overhyping, right, and what some teams need to avoid doing. So go ahead and enjoy, guys.
It's happening.
Do you want to explain this clip? Yeah, okay.
What are you watching?
We need it louder. We need it louder. We need it louder. The whole point is to listen to them freaking out.
It has to be louder.
Come on.
Attaboy.
So that's an example of Serbian CS.
Okay,
who'd you beat?
YNK in the foreground there. I think you guys all saw him pumping his arms.
Who'd you beat?
I mean, we beat Lemon Dogs. They were actually...
Apparently Twist was sitting there.
Yeah, Twist was playing there, and Berg and Zype, and I don't know, like they were
that was the early
top 4 at DreamHack Winter 2012. This is early 2013, yeah. You could see Nico there as well. I mean, it was like our first international tournament as a team. To give some background, like if
explain the strategy behind the hype as well.
Yeah, so it was our first tournament, like a LAN tournament international. We paid for the whole trip ourselves, like the trip, the hotel, the fee, and we were preparing really hard for it. We knew that nobody's gonna they're gonna think we are like complete underdogs, right? So we talked about it. We were like, I noticed that the Lemon Dogs team, they're pretty young guys, like 17, 16, 18 years old. I'm not even sure. So I was like, okay, guys, let's give them the Serbian treatment. Let's just like, when we saw the setup, because you could see they were like, we were in a square setting, and they were like, I was the far left guy, and right next to me was their far right guy. So I was like, let's just like scream, give them the yell treatment, And we were like, we lost both pistols and we beat them 16-8. So we crushed them pretty much, And it was like, I mean, I still get, the chills when I see it, It was.
Well, that's the thing. There was like no sound dampening headsets either. You know who would have been really happy about that treatment as well? Taz.
Oh yeah,
that's like
they were at that event as well. I think somewhere in that clip you can hear in the background who also yelling something in Russian. Like nobody was like used to it. Basically, you have all these Scandinavian and so on, like mellow people. They just want to play in silence. Look at their reactions
sitting across from you, man. Those poor little Swedes. They're just sitting there like, we don't know what to do with themselves.
They didn't know what was happening, honestly. Like they kept sitting there for like 10 more minutes.
We have some examples from Scandinavia of people that are pretty hyped too. Keaton maybe. Some others.
It's been a long time since we've seen those.
Yeah, that's like,
the problem.
I'm talking about Dinosaurs
new
right
generation,
now.
right?
Like myself.
We need that hype. At the same time, though, we're talking about how teams need to keep cool, need to keep calm, so that the comms are clean and all that. So
I don't think this is this is not good.
I think this is very good.
When you do that, your highs are just too high and lows are too low, and that's an emotional roller coaster. Yeah, it just doesn't work out. It used to be cool, but just things change.
Yeah, things change.
Life moves on.
You know, you gotta just turn down your hearing aid not to, and it'll be all right. You know?
Wow. Easy dig. That was too easy.
I know it was. But we're gonna go ahead and take our break now before we get into the winner match of this group. Group C, as you guys can see, it's gonna be mousesports versus Team Liquid coming up next here in about 15 minutes time on the stream. Winter Fox and Renegades, the two teams that will be dropping down for our last best of 3 of the night to see who's gonna be the first team to get eliminated from this group, guys. But this is the DreamHack Cluj qualifiers for the next major, happening live in Stockholm in the DreamHack Monster Studios, and we will be back in roughly 15 minutes time with the next match of the night.